All right, folks, sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. All right. Had some slight technical issues in the studio here, but we are here tonight on the VinceDao Show, ladies and gentlemen. We got to discuss the right-wing dialogue around the Barbie movie. Is it woke? Is it our fault for even caring about it? I'll give you my thoughts. Also, Michael Knowles interviews Jacob Chansley, the infamous Shaman. We'll give you some reaction there. And Miss Italy is banning Transformers from any of their future beauty pageants. Of course, this is after that Miss Netherlands debacle. We'll give you all of our thoughts tonight. Stay tuned. And we are live tonight, folks, from the great state of Florida. Welcome, everyone, to the VinceDao Show. It is July 21st, the year of our Lord 2023, and I am your galaxy brain host, Vince Dow. Got a great show for you guys tonight. Got a few things to talk about. The Barbie movie, this very interesting, I will say, Jacob Chansley interview. Also, got to kind of shout out the 25% homeland here in Italy, and much more to talk about. But before we begin, as usual, be sure to leave a like on the channel, subscribe if you like on the video, I should say. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and as usual, if you do want to support the show tonight, feel free to do so by sending in super chats. I'll check the super chats as usual regularly throughout the night in between all of our segments here. Burgundy Blue for $2 says, "Hey Vince, hope you are doing well." I hope you are doing well as well, Burgundy Blue. And yeah, I am doing quite well. It's a good day, all right? Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seemed kind of odd. There was no barking from the dog or no smog, so this is all very true. But yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for the $2, Burgundy Blue. Again, guys, I will check super chats regularly throughout the night. Anyway, since I did start late, don't want to keep you for much longer. Let's just get right into our discussions for the night, ladies and gentlemen. And we got to start, because I've been seeing it go all over Twitter. Everyone's going back and forth in the right wing about this Barbie movie, okay? So is the Barbie movie woke feminist propaganda? Are people overreacting? Should you even care at all? Well, let me say first and foremost, you know, I think the reason I want to bring this up is because it's an interesting discussion that proves a greater point I want all the conservatives out there to realize. But before we do that, let me disclaim this by saying, because people are going to ask these questions, okay? Let me start this video by disclaiming that I have not seen the Barbie movie. I refuse to see the Barbie movie. Why? Because I am a normal man, okay? So this whole fad of, oh, let's go see the Barbie, I'm not going to see it. Why would I see it? And I will say, I have been offered to see the Barbie movie by a certain female who may be watching this, and she knows, and I said, no, I'm indeed not seeing that with you, and that's your fault. Go find someone to watch it with. This is very true. But anyways, a lot of people have watched the Barbie movie, and they're bringing up talking points like this. Of course, you know, Ben Shapiro, I guess his producers today drags him to the Barbie movie, and he says, all you need to know about the Barbie movie is that it unironically uses the word patriarchy 10 times. And so this is what's interesting about the Barbie movie, which is when apparently, according to all the conservatives who sat down and watched it, they said it was woke. They said it was, you know, your generic crap propaganda Hollywood movie. But my whole thing is, how did you guys not know that? How did you guys not expect that? And this is the problem, which is that we as conservatives, I guess we never really noticed the internalized feminism, and I guess you could say the agenda behind everything. Because sure, it is true that the Barbie marketing was not explicitly woke, right? You do not see explicit pride flags or any of that stuff forefront, hey, this is what's going to be in the movie. But I look at this being the movie poster here, right? And I mean, just take a look at this. So you got Barbie on top, Ken at the bottom, and then read the text that says, she's everything, he's just Ken. You're surprised that this movie is woke? Because I get it, right? Barbie is blonde, Ken is blonde, it's pink. You think it'll portray some type of traditional femininity in a way that's kind of right-wing. I get maybe the counter argument, but look at this poster right here, right? She's everything, he's just Ken. So what is this doing? It's emasculating Ken, right? Barbie is being portrayed as the girl boss in this situation. And then suddenly we as a movement are so surprised that the movie mentions the word patriarchy like 10 times or whatever, and is all kind of anti-men and inherently feminist. That's what I think we need to realize more often when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to a lot of this stuff, which is there is internalized feminism and leftism in virtually everything that these people create. And just because there is not a pride flag explicitly on the cover of this movie does not mean you cannot very clearly, and we should have all seen, this should be no surprise to anyone, right? Detect the internalized feminism. The fact that she is, the fact that I should say Ken is subservient to Barbie, the fact that she is above him, and read the caption there, that is internalized feminism. I would argue it's actually pretty explicit feminism, but I get it. Maybe that's not third wave feminism, right? That's not the third wave. Men are bad. I'm fat. Shave your armpit. You don't shave your armpits as a woman, all this stuff. But that absolutely is the second wave feminism of the 70s, right? Divorce your husband, be a girl boss, commit yourself entirely to a career, not to children. That wave of feminism is absolutely here. And this is the thing, is that you see this in virtually every single commercial and Hollywood movie out there that exists, right? Ever notice this? And I talk about this all the time whenever we talk about commercials and stuff. I bring this up. Do you ever notice in a corporate commercial these days, just sit down, football games, basketball game, just watch the commercials. You'll notice in virtually every single case, first of all, every single cast is multiracial. Which, I'm not saying that in itself, whatever, but you'll notice that, like, they always say this is about equal and accurate representation. There's a certain quota that is never reflected in real America, right? The real American demographics are not what you see in Hollywood movies and commercials, but you'll notice it always fulfills that quota, right? That is inherently, right, internalized subtly. What are they trying to do there? It's kind of a dig at white people, right? But furthermore, you look at the way, especially, next time you watch a commercial, watch this. The way white men specifically are portrayed in any corporate advertising, they will almost always cast someone who is like weak and scrawny. Oftentimes, they're the punching line, right? The joke of the commercial is making fun of the white guy. You will see this all the time, right? But here's the problem with us as conservatives, and kind of how we got to the slippery slope to where, now we're shocked that Dylan Mulvaney's on the cover of Bud Light. Well, understand, they've been doing this stuff for quite a while, but we only sit there and notice when it's right in our face, right? When the boulder is rolling down the slippery slope, we don't notice. And then when it hits us in the face, suddenly we're like, we can't believe, guys, can you believe that a movie with this poster is a feminist movie? That's the problem with us as a movement, right? We can't pick up on the signs. This should be obvious to everyone. So, that's my thoughts on the Barbie movie. I mean, if anyone has actually seen it, feel free to let me know how it actually was, because, I will not see it. But are my suspicions correct? Is it true what everyone is saying, which is that the movie is, just kind of anti-man feminist propaganda or whatever? Because if that is the case, again, I am not surprised, and I don't think anyone should be surprised. And this is true, right? My mom played with Barbies. I don't have a problem with playing with Barbies as girls, okay? If you're a girl, But look at this. The whole movie, it seems to me, again, I've not seen it, seems to me it's about putting Barbie over Ken, destroying the patriarchy, smashing the patriarchy, and that's just... Again, shouldn't be surprising to anyone. All right, guys, again, be sure to leave a like on the stream and super chat the show if you feel free to. In fact, we got 2 here on Streamlabs. Hold on. All right, folks, Trigonaut donates $5 through Streamlabs, saying, thank you for using Streamlabs, by the way, saying, we are so back. Good to see you again, Vince. Godspeed, brother. Keep up the good work. Yeah, good to see you, Trigonaut. Haven't seen you in a couple days. Appreciate it. And we got another $15 one here from a friendly medic saying, did you see all the drama happening between... Yeah. I have indeed seen it. Friendly medic, that was always inevitable to me. But then also it is kind of shocking, right? But, I feel no sympathy, right? They put Ralph there for so many, for such a long time, knowing how he was, defended him constantly, and then suddenly now, all of a sudden, he's turning against them, and they're using all the talking points that everyone has been bringing up. Yeah, not surprising. Thank you for the $15, Friendly Medic. I appreciate it very much. And what can we do besides popcorn? Popcorn, it is so true. Thank you for the $15. All right, folks, the last word spoken is gynecologist. Yeah, well, that, not surprising again. All right, folks, so let's move on here tonight with our coverage of our stories, folks. But first, let me recrop the screen for the next segment here. All right, so Michael Knowles, folks. Hold on. Let me crop it up first so that way we can prepare the segment correctly, okay? All right, folks. Here we are. Okay. So, you guys remember this guy? You guys may remember QAnon Shaman, right? He basically became the face of that certain day in January 2021 that is, of course, forbidden to speak about. Now, Tucker Carlson, as you may remember a couple months ago, and this was a big reason he was fired from Fox, actually revealed that this guy who was the face of the insurrection, all of that stuff, actually was not violent to anyone, actually was incredibly peaceful the entire day. And, who knows, was he led into the Capitol or not? There's no footage there. But all he did was peacefully walk around the Capitol, incredibly respectful. And this guy was the face of that day in January. And he was serving an incredibly lengthy prison sentence. I believe originally it was, 3 years, 4 years for simply doing that. Well, partially because a patriot named Tucker Carlson actually released the footage, and to everyone who said, Tucker, you shouldn't have done that, you helped free an innocent guy from jail here, right? Michael Knowles actually sat down this week and did an interview with the Shaman guy. Now, here's what I'll say about the Shaman guy is that he is a bit kooky. By the way, and I mentioned this the other night, I've actually met this guy. I actually have an interview with this guy that I never released because I was like, I'm not going to contribute to this thing, right? Are they going to use it against him? Whatever. Even though the interview is totally peaceful and clean, but I just didn't want to run the risk. But having met the guy myself and just seeing the guy, I'm not surprised by his behavior. Is he kooky? Yes. Is he a little bit out there? Yes. He's a shaman, obviously. But totally harmless, right? Totally harmless. The guy would never hurt a fly. Legitimately, that's probably against his religion, right? And they threw this guy in jail for more time than a lot of violent criminals out there. And, as you will find out in this interview, put him in solitary confinement. So here's just kind of
You were in solitary confinement for 10 and a half months.
10 and a half months.
So that seems like torture.
And I experienced some miraculous things in solitary. I'm freaking out. I'm in a cell. I'm freaking out. I'm like, what the hell? And I had a Bible in my hand. I said, I need you to speak with me. So I closed my eyes. I opened the Bible. I point to a random verse. And the verse was, I am yours and you are mine. I have redeemed you and called you by name, O Jacob. Oh, yeah.
So this is 2 hours long. We're not going to react to the whole thing. And if you want to go watch it, like I said, the guy's a bit kooky, okay? And I've known that and would never deny that the guy, he's certainly out there. But what I want to focus on this channel, which is the most important part, which is the mishandling of this trial. Some people don't think that injustice happens in America, and we do have a better justice system than a lot of countries. But
how people react.
If something is politically charged enough, you absolutely can get screwed over by the justice system. And also give you an insight a little bit into his, like I said, I firmly believe, human rights abuses that happened to this guy simply because he supported the president and walked peacefully around a government building that he very likely was allowed into. And so that's what I want to cover here tonight. So let's play it.
Acted to you.
Here's him talking about his experience in prison.
Interesting curiosity. Some of the minority communities for a brief time thought that I was racist because they watched CNN.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then all it took was 5 minutes of conversing with me and they realized this guy's not racist at all. This guy's all right. I actually kind of like him.
Violent.
So no one tried to beat you up or anything like that?
No, I was there. I was at a prison. The prison I was at, there was a riot. And actually, a lot of the guys that were in the unit that I was in, as I was looking out the window, they're like, Chansley, get away from the window. If they see you, they might come in here and pull you out and beat your ass. So, Get away from the window. There's good people in prison that just made really bad decisions.
Of course.
Right? But there's also, and anybody that's been in prison will tell you, there's some scumbags, there's some dirtbags, there's some not good people, and they deserve to be in prison.
How were you treated by the prison itself? We've read all sorts of stories about January 6th people who had pretty difficult treatment, solitary confinement, that sort of thing. How was your treatment? Well,
in D.C., when I was in the D.C. jail or D.C. gulag, that was the first time I ever experienced racism in my entire life. And then after
I could imagine. That's probably pretty rampant in a D.C. prison is, racism against guys of his skin color. It's true.
Got moved to Alexandria, Virginia. I was in solitary the whole time, so 10 and a half months. They said it was for COVID, and then they said it was for my protection. But the thing is that when they transferred me to other locations, they'll put me in general population. So then that goes right out the window.
Okay, so let's get that back one more time, okay? So check it out. Well, listen to that again. When he was in Alexandria for 10 months, they put the guy in solitary confinement. They claimed it was due to COVID, even though that didn't happen in DC, didn't happen anywhere else. That sounds totally bogus to me too. Because you mean to tell me then every single person in the Alexandria prison or jail, wherever he was kept in solitary confinement because of COVID? Do they even have the space in the jail to do that? That sounds highly unlikely to me, right? So that sounds like they used it as an excuse because they're trying to torture the guy and put him in jail, put him in solitary confinement. Again, for 10 months. 10 months of solitary confinement for doing what? For doing what? That's the way they torture a lot of violent criminals and murderers. What did this guy do? He walked peacefully around the Capitol and left when they asked him to leave. 10 months of solitary confinement.
Alexandria, Virginia.
Insane.
I was in solitary the whole time, so 10 and a half months. They said it was for COVID, and then they said it was for my protection. But the thing is that when they transferred me to other locations, they'll put me in general population. So then that goes right out the window. These reasons go right out the window. I think, personally, that it was more so about trying to break my spirit.
Absolutely.
Than it had anything to do with trying to keep me safe or, keeping COVID at a minimum or whatever.
Absolutely.
You were in solitary confinement for 10 and a half months.
10 and a half months.
How did you keep any of your wits about you in that? It seems like torture.
God, my shamanic breathing techniques, prayer, meditation, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I experienced some miraculous things in solitary. A good example would be, so when I was in Florence, Arizona, when I first got arrested, they just arrested me based on misdemeanor charges. Okay.
The misdemeanor charge was like trespassing or something?
Yeah, parading on Capitol grounds, that kind of stuff. And then about 4 or 5 days in, they slapped me with 2 felonies. And then the maximum sentence for those 2 felonies was 25 years total.
So as I read, again, I don't know that I should.
So he was facing originally, and if it would have went to trial, it probably would have happened. 25 years in federal prison for doing what you saw on the Tucker Carlson footage. And by the way, there was footage of him even before that, from my recollection, right? What is he doing? Walking around, very likely was let into that building, much like a lot of the other ones were, right? Walking around, being peaceful, being nice. He's sitting in the Senate chamber and the cops asked him to leave and he leaves. But because he was a Trump supporter and also because he was kind of the face of that day because of, the outfit, everyone kind of made this public meme out of him. 25 years in federal prison. There's no justice system in America, okay? Don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of things about our justice system that I prefer to other countries, okay? Let me just say I'd rather stand trial here than, Romania. But it's still, if something is politically motivated enough, they will do it. They will do it. And you see this. The guy never stood a chance at a fair trial.
Should believe any reporting on you or January 6th, but what I read...
Oh, by the way, one thing I want to, before, remember this too, they withheld the footage of him. Right? That's a big reason it got released. That footage that Tucker released, they withheld from the trial. So the judge was not, and the jury, they were not, actually just the judge, because I don't think they went to trial, right? The judge was not able to even see that footage. Total mishandling of justice. This guy should, frankly, get reparations from the U.S. government. Frankly,
the felony was obstructing an official proceeding.
That's what Trump should
and
do.
And then the other one was
term.
like basically rioting.
Okay.
Which they had no evidence that I was rioting.
25
and he was not rioting. He was totally peaceful. Remember?
It's a maximum sentence. So, like, and the judge that I had when I, pleaded guilty and at my sentencing, I said, I thought I was looking at 25 years in prison. He said, if you would have gone to trial, he said, you did the smart thing, because if you would have gone to trial, you were looking at something like 20 years.
So you avoided trial by pleading guilty?
Yes.
And apologizing, saying you regretted it?
Well, I don't want to go too much into that because of the motion,
Got it.
But long story short, the experience that I had after those felonies were slapped on me, right? I'm freaking out. I'm in a cell. I'm freaking out. I'm like, what the hell? God, show me you're with me. Show me that you're hearing my prayers. Give me a sign, please. I had a Bible in my hand. I said, I'm gonna close my eyes and I'm gonna open this Bible and I'm gonna point to a random verse with my eyes closed, and I need you to speak with me. Tell me you're with me. Tell me that this is gonna be okay. So I close my eyes, I open the Bible, I point to a random verse, and the verse was, I am yours and you are mine. I have redeemed you and called you by name, O Jacob. Oh yeah. And that just rocked my world, because the statistical likelihood that would happen is so astronomical, that my name would be in it, of all things, talking about redeeming me. I'm yours, you are mine. Like, whoa. And there was other things, like, for example, I'd be in my cell and
say, that's a very cool story. I think that's a sign, Jacob. Turn from shamanism, okay? Turn from shamanism. Shamanism is not real, okay? Turn to the true living God. That is a sign. That's an amazing story. So why are you still a shaman, man? Come on.
Solitary confinement in Alexandria, and I'd be praying and praying and praying during the day, and like, God, like, why? Why'd you ask me to go through this? Why'd you ask me to do this? Like, this is so hard. Man. The media's lying, the government's lying, and I can't do anything about it. I can't defend myself. Please give me a sign that you're still with me. Give me a sign that not everybody believes this stuff, et cetera. And then that night I would get letters, like a stack of letters. And then I'd read the letters, and there'd be biblical verses in those letters that correspond with my prayers. Or there'd be people that are being like, we don't believe anything in the media. We know that what they're saying is a lie, and blah, 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 blah. We're supporting you. We're praying for you, all of that stuff. So now here's the interesting part. The letters were dated a week prior to my prayer. So people sent the letters out a week before I got them. So that means that God had somebody write a letter a week prior to answer my prayers a week later.
That's a notion of providence, right?
Divine providence, yeah. That is correct.
So, wow, that's really beautiful, and it must have been very encouraging.
Yes, well, and then to have Tucker Carlson release his footage 3 weeks before my release,
yeah.
And it was just enough time for people to be outraged about the fact that I was still in prison. And it was also just enough time to like exonerate me in the court of public opinion before I was released. You see?
Coincidentally, I was on his show that night, and I didn't know about it. I don't watch cable news. I love Tucker personally, but I just don't watch cable news. And I happened to be booked on his show, and I was sitting in the green room, and I said, what is this? The January 6th tapes? What is this? And so I remember I was watching it in the green room as this is airing. I said, oh, a lot of what we were told about January 6th just wasn't true. The government had withheld a lot of pretty important information. So
true. I've known that.
I get all the post-January 6th stuff, or at least I've got now a clearer picture of a lot of it. But what about the days before you go there? What impelled you to go? All
right, this is going to be an interesting segment, actually, because, if you can't already tell, like I said, this guy is an insurrectionist, a terrorist. The guy's totally harmless. Is he kooky? Yes. Does he probably, smoke quite a bit of the lettuce? Probably yes. Yes. All of those things are true. But the guy's harmless, okay? And when I say he wouldn't hurt a fly, I legitimately mean that. I'm pretty sure he's against that, okay? So, and they painted this guy as this angry terrorist who went in to overthrow the government. It's just ridiculous. It's slander of the highest order, and I'm sure he'll never get reparations, I would have to imagine.
Did you hope to accomplish? How did you think January 6th was going to turn out? What was the point? Take me through the days and weeks before.
Well, I had gone to D.C. on December 12th for the second MAGA million.
God works through the weirdest of people, even those misguided. It is true, Michael.
In March. True. And there were people around the Capitol building, people around the Supreme Court. Everything was fine. Everything was peaceful. It was all good.
Correct. Okay, that's a very good point I want to bring up. Yes. So on that day in January, right? Oh, they're all there to overthrow the No. I'm just telling you as a statement of fact. Most people were there because it was just the same as all the other Stop the Steal rallies, right? They did one in November. They did the Million MAGA. You remember that? They did a few in December, right? And thus far, nothing ever happened at them, right? So there's actually a precedent of these rallies being incredibly peaceful and normal and classy, right? So most of the people who show up on the day in January are there to do the same exact thing, which is protest the results of the election. Just from there, right? And apparently everyone who was there, no, you're a terrorist, you're a domestic terrorist, you deserve to be in jail, blah, blah, blah. Many such cases, yeah.
So I thought that's what we were going to experience on January 6th. Another peaceful...
Correct, yeah. Most of the people there didn't have violent intentions. In fact, basically 99% over them.
Demonstration. Now, this is the other thing. This is another motivation and reason for me going. DC is built on ley lines, okay? So as a shamanic practitioner and somebody that understands the power of the ley lines, as well as somebody that understands the power of these sacred buildings, et cetera, these are sacred sites, essentially.
See, this is where the guy gets
then
kooky.
If there's going to be a million people or more than a million people in Washington, D.C. on that day, then it is my duty as a shamanic practitioner to be there to input into the grid system the most high vibe, positive vibes possible.
So you were there to, through your shamanic practice, protect all the people that were showing up.
Yes, and the planet as a whole.
Thank you, Mr.
Because
Shaman.
with that much energy, it can become unstable, And that's why I say there's a very good reason why the cops were escorting me around the building. And it wasn't because they thought I was dangerous.
It is a little weird that they were walking you in particular around.
I can't talk about it.
You can't talk about
it. Right now, I'm not just telling you, like, there's a very good reason why. For both of our parts.
Because the guy sticks out of a crowd like a sore thumb, as you could imagine. The guy literally was like wearing no shirt on January 2021. It is very cold in Washington, D.C., okay? And it was very apparent, right? This guy was going to become the icon of the day. I mean, look at him. So, yeah, you're right. Maybe there was a reason. I'm speculating, okay? This is just obvious. This is just conjecture. This is conspiracy theory, but... maybe there's a reason why him in particular, the cops were like, let's walk you around the whole building and make sure you go into all the different chambers, right? Make sure you're in this building, you're in that building, you touch this, you touch that. Why? In theory, again, this is just conjecture, because what can those translate into, right? Charges. It's true. It's a true point, something to think about, right?
And it has nothing to do with being a Fed or an actor or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with...
it's just a conspiracy, though. Far out, dude. Far out, dude.
The reasons I just gave you for being in D.C.
I don't think you're a Fed or an actor. I know that was kind of floating around for a while, but having talked to you now
he's just a kooky guy.
I don't know, 40 minutes or something like that. I never really thought that, but I don't think that. So once your case is resolved, I look forward to hearing the...
I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it.
So you go there for that. Did you go there because you supported Trump, or you thought the election was stolen, or you... How much did affinity for Trump play a role in that? And then beyond protecting people and putting out the positive vibes, did you think there would be some conclusion to the January 6th stuff, that either he would remain the president or they would send the ballots back to the states, or what? Did you have a vision of what would happen as a result of it?
Before he answers, Sheeny Beanie says something important, which is, bro is a hippie. That is correct. The guy is indeed a hippie. What does it say that the face of that day, you know, this guy is embodied 1-6, right? He embodies that day. He's the icon of that day, of the insurrection. And what is he himself? A hippie. Okay? A peaceful hippie. I'm pretty sure he's vegan. He's like, bro, dude, I just was there to protect everyone there, dude. Do hippies lead revolutions, guys? Are hippies violent terror? It's just not real. It doesn't exist.
Yes and no. So
it tells you a lot. Yeah, he demanded vegan food in prison. That's true.
We're there because, you know, Trump asked people to show up. Now, look, I support a lot.
But it tells you how nonsense the narrative of that day is, that this guy is the icon of the insurrection. Yeah. Well, if he's the face of it, then it wasn't much of an insurrection, was it? Right.
What Trump has said and done. I don't agree with everything that he said and done. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to abandon the man. You know what I mean? Any successful business owner knows that you don't want to have a room full of yes men, you know? So having some sort of a independent thought and critical thinking is not a bad thing. It wasn't just about Trump, okay? And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand about what happened on that day. It wasn't just about Trump and the election. It was about being lied to about JFK for decades by the government and the media. Okay, Trump released the autopsy. We now know he was shot by more than one bullet from more than one angle.
Do we?
Oh yeah, it's in the autopsy. If I'm not mistaken, Trump declassified JFK's autopsy. And all you have to do is watch the video. He got shot by more than one bullet from more than one angle.
I remember seeing a story come out that the CIA had some pre-existing relationship with Lee Harvey Oswald. And I remember this kind of making, I didn't look into it too much, so I don't really know anything about that, but.
And then they shot Lee Harvey Oswald, and then the guy, Jack Ruby, dies in jail. Okay? What the hell? Okay? So that's part of it. It's also part of it that, like, the media and the government have been caught in lie after lie after lie after lie, scandal after scandal after scandal. And then we get things like, recent things like weapons of mass destruction, lied about weapons of mass destruction, just so we can invade Iraq and take the gold and whatever else was that was there that we wanted, the oil.
Well, this was always one of my criticisms of the war in Iraq was I thought we didn't get the oil. I thought at the very least, let's get the oil. I think Trump made that point too. He said, well, where was the oil?
But the thing is that there's soldiers that have come back from Iraq talking about how they were forced to guard oil pipelines.
It's true, guys. So anyways, let me get caught up here on these super chats. We got Mr. Rat, who says, watch the Oppenheimer movie. Did I already read this one? I don't think I did. Watch the new Oppenheimer movie today. Enjoyed it for the most part, but didn't really need to see Cillian Murphy naked. Thank you for the 50 Swedes, Mr. Rat. I've not seen Oppenheimer. Should I see it? Is it worth seeing? I've not seen a movie in theaters since Top Gun, but if Oppenheimer is super good, then I guess. But thank you for the 50 Swedes. I appreciate it, Mr. Rat. And Burgundy Blue for $2 says it's so Jover, guys. I don't know what he's talking about. Is it Jover? Doesn't look Jover to me. It actually looks so back to me. But anyways, guys, as we wrap up our coverage here of this interview, I want to just skip around. Let's see if there's any chapters that interest us, okay? So let's see. Being locked in solitary confinement, the truth. Well, here's an interesting one. This is what QAnon really is. I'm actually curious to hear his answer on that. What actually is QAnon? Okay, let's take a look. Because he is, of course, as everyone knows, QAnon Shaman. Let's find out what QAnon actually is. Because I can never get a straight answer, you know. At first, I was told if you support Trump, you're QAnon. Secondly, I was told if you ask questions about the 2020 election, that's what makes you QAnon. Or thirdly, now, the more recently, I've been told if you are against human trafficking and you think human trafficking of children is a big deal and Sound of Freedom is an important movie, of course, that is what makes you QAnon. So I can never get a straight answer. The people who say QAnon the most can never define it. I can never define it because I don't have any idea what it is, actually. I actually kind of do, but it's never what they say, right? It's this thing that started on Reddit or 4chan a long time ago, and it's not a movement. QAnon is some anonymous user who, okay, I'm not even gonna get into it. Okay, let's hear the answer from QAnon Shaman himself. What is QAnon? All right, this is the $1 million. We've been asking this for years. What actually is this conspiracy theory that they claim all of us right-wingers actually follow? Okay, let's take a listen.
That Q itself. So Q is this person who's posting questions.
I don't think it's a person. I think it's a group.
So Q is a group that's posting questions on fora like 4chan or this other
Acun,
one.
yeah.
Acun. And you're saying that is a psyop from the highest levels of government.
Or I would say most likely highest levels of the military.
Okay.
Because military intelligence and the intelligence community tend to work together.
Sure.
He actually gets it. That's what I was going to say. That's exactly what QAnon is, right? How it all started. Because I actually do kind of know what it is, even though they just say it's, everything is QAnon, right? But what the real QAnon thing is that there was some user named QAnon back in like 2018, and I forget exactly what it was, but he went on 4chan or 8kun, whatever, and made a prediction about the future. Like Trump was going to do this thing, and it came true, and the prediction came true, and everyone was like, because he claimed he's an insider in the Trump White House or military or something. He said so-and-so was going to happen. The first one actually came true, but then after that, it was just a bunch of ridiculous nonsense, and from different people, probably not even the same user, right? Trump's going to do this, Trump's going to do that, Trump's going to use the military to take this over, this, that. The whole thing has always been a scam, right? It's always been, he's absolutely right. It is a psyop. And I was even saying that back in 2019, 2020, when Trump was still president. I was saying it is a psyop, this whole idea also that like Trump's going to use the military to, save the country and step in and be, save the election, whatever. I was like, that's all a psyop, right? That's a psyop because they don't want you to vote. Because remember this back in 2020 as well. They were saying Trump's got it in the bag. QAnon was saying like Trump is guaranteed to win the election for this or that, or the military's going to help, something like that. And I was always saying that's nonsense. They just want you to be overconfident about the election and then get you to not vote, right? And then even in the period post-election, they were saying, don't worry, he's going to use the military, he's going to do this or that. That also was just to kind of sit there and keep having false hope. And then even in the early days of Biden, allegedly, what they were saying was, remember this? They're saying Trump was going to get reinstated. Trump was going to come back as president in August 2021. Remember that whole thing, right? So to me, even if QAnon himself initially was some real insider who leaked information, whatever, it's been pretty clear since 2019 or so, the whole thing has been a psyop. And honestly, it's probably been a psyop, if not pushed by leftists, probably pushed by, he's right, governmental agencies, CIA or something. And by the way, virtually no one on the right wing actually believes in this thing, okay? There's some Twitter users or whatever back in the day, but who out there, you believe in QAnon? Do you even know what it is at this point? None of us actually believe in this thing, but this psyop has been used, right, to paint a broad brush. This is what the right wing believes in, is this QAnon theory, which is not even a thing. What is it? Oh, the belief that some anonymous user in 2018 who is allegedly an insider made a true prediction because he knew something was going to happen. Oh, wow.
Now, what led me to that conclusion?
True. QAnon was the laughs we had along the way. That's 100%.
Is the numerical code in the Q drops themselves and the gap code between the time that Trump would tweet something and Q would do a Q drop, and what is called the Q clock. Okay, so if you look into cryptology and encrypting information, then you will see that what the Q drops were doing was very, very similar to the way military intelligence communicates. And this is how it is that you're able to communicate a message in plain sight without the enemy knowing what exactly it is that you're saying, because it's all encrypted, it's all encoded. Now, the numerical code, if you look at the numerical code and then you line...
Scuffed Ryan Gosling says, I was QAnon. You know what's funny about that Scuffed Ryan Gosling is, as someone who is in the movement and just knows influencers and people like that, I have been told for years that a certain right-wing figure was QAnon all along, but I won't run with it because I feel like that could be a psyop too. Maybe that's a deflection, that's a distraction, but allegedly a certain former Trump advisor from what I used to be told back in like 2019, a certain former Trump advisor started that as a means to try to get people on Twitter to mobilize like a Twitter army for the 2020 election. I don't know. That's what I've heard. I don't even know if I believe that, because I feel like a lot of these people just talk out of their rear end because they want to sound like they know people. So I'm just take that with a grain of salt, because I don't even necessarily believe that. But, you know, I tend to side more with Jacob here, that the whole thing is just some elaborate scam, you know?
Line that up with certain other, and you learn the numerical code, you can line it up in a way where these numbers end up creating a much larger message.
Not
and
Flynn,
it's the
but
same
you're
thing with the
close.
Q clock. The Q
And
clock
it
is like a
very well
regular
could be
clock
Flynn,
with 12
you know?
numbers, right? But above each of the numbers are dates, and each of these dates are different. Now, when you align all of these dates together and then you get all the Q drops that were on that day, then it creates a much larger message that is very interconnected with each other. But each of these dates, each of these drops is on a different day.
This is like the right-wing zodiac, okay? That's like, you know, how the liberal women have their horoscopes. You know, today you're a Taurus, so that means you're going to have a good day. Make sure to do your sage crystal, whatever nonsense. This is their version of it.
So it's about spreading out this much larger message that when you put it together, put the puzzle together properly, the message becomes clear. So it's equivalent to military intelligence dumping a massive puzzle on the table of the internet and saying, figure it out.
Why are they doing this?
So that's a great question. How do you dissolve mass formation hypnosis? You have to get at least 5% or more of the population to reject the programming, the hypnosis, the narrative. Right? How you get people to de-neurolinguistically program themselves. You ask them questions, and then they do their own research, right? And then they come to the conclusions on their own. You can't just tell somebody the government's corrupt. You have to show them. And you know who Yuri Bezmenov is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The Soviet guy.
Yes, and he was a KGB operative in charge of psychological warfare, what they called ideological subversion, right? So think about this. Yuri Bezmenov said that the Soviets and the global communist conspiracy, which he said is very real, okay, and he would know.
I'm losing him.
They infiltrate countries, in particular, he was talking about the United States, but all countries through an ideological warfare campaign, a psychological warfare campaign that is broken down into four parts.
They do that, yes.
Demoralization, which takes a full generation, infiltrate the entertainment, infiltrate the schools, the colleges, infiltrate governments, infiltrate the media outlets, etc.
All right.
Okay. Then indoctrinate or demoralize a whole generation of children. Then after that, you get destabilization. Now, what ends up happening there is that once that whole generation has been demoralized, then you use the infiltrators that did the demoralization in conjunction with the demoralized generation. And then they destabilize the system. And that takes a couple of years. Then once the system has been destabilized, that's when you get into the third part.
Okay, this is all true, but how does it relate to QAnon? I don't get it.
Crisis. So then this collapse of the supply chain, the failing of banks,
yes.
how
does it relate to QAnon?
The housing market crash, et cetera, et cetera. These are the crises that occur.
I have no idea.
Right? Then the last part is normalization. And what happens is that during the crisis portion, these infiltrators that did the demoralization, destabilization, they move into positions of power, high-level positions of power. Then they normalize all of this stuff and they create a communist government. Okay? So how does this relate to Q?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
How this relates to Q is this. There are entities within...
Yo, hold on. We got a $50 super chat from Burgundy Blue. Let's go. Who says, adding to my marriage comment from the other day, I think when we overturn gay marriage, we should replace it with civil unions that prevent adoption while keeping current gay marriages intact. This will make libs less reactive compared to a full ban. Thank you for the $50. Big donation there from Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it, man. God bless you. And yeah, I mean, I think you have to push back one step at a time. So, you know, we'll give them their little compromises, and then, you know, when we are king of America, we're just gonna say to heck with it all. But it is true. Thank you for the $50, Burgundy Blue. There, big super chat. Appreciate it very much. All right, let us continue on. I want to hear. We're almost done with this, but I do want to hear him conclude on his point on QAnon. David says, if what you said about QAnon and Trump's advisor and whatever it had to do with Trump and then 1/6 is true, the left would have said something about it. Definitely not true. No, David. Okay, so like I said, I don't know if it's true either, because this is just what I've heard of people say, but I'm not saying that that's what caused the 6th, because QAnon by late 2020 was a dead thing in terms of any authenticity. What I'm saying is the origins of how that originally started allegedly is that, right? By 2020, it was easy to tell. Beginning of 2020, it was easy to tell. It was getting out of control. It was getting ridiculous. People were just saying like ridiculous nonsense and saying that QAnon said it. And, you know, it was just, and nobody believed it. Early 2020, all the major conservative influencers were saying, yeah, it's like a psyop. It's totally nonsense. They keep saying, oh, Trump's going to do this. Trump's going to do that. Hillary's going to go to jail on this day or that day. And it never came true. Like, it was already a broken record by early 2020. But my point is, allegedly, that's how the whole thing started. And obviously, it was very quickly subverted and infiltrated, if that's true. But that's just what I've heard. Who knows? Who knows? It could have just been a psyop from the start, but it's hard to say. Thank you for the $50, though. Big donation from Burgundy Blue.
Within our government, within what some people would call the deep
Patriots
state,
in control.
Okay, the bureaucracy, the intelligence apparatus, military intelligence, that do not want to see the United States of America fall. They do not want a new world order, one world government. Okay. They do not want these less than 1%ers dictating our lives and the lives of our children. So the Q operation was done so that this demoralized population, which Yuri Bezmenov said, you could show people in black and white the truth and they won't believe it because they're so heavily demoralized. You could take them to the concentration camps and they will not believe it until they're behind the gates, right? How do you deprogram people? You give them questions, they do their own research, they come to their own conclusions, and they see the government corruption on their own. They see the fences, they see the gates, and they realize the system, then what they have been told is for their security is actually for their enslavement or their imprisonment. And all it takes is 5%, right? So we have in the United States far more than 5% who can see through the BS.
Yeah,
right?
Certainly. I mean, if you're defining that as people who know that the media and the government lie to us all the time, I was probably like 65%. I don't know, it seems like a lot of people.
Yes.
And that's been true for a while, I think.
Yes.
So why do we need Q?
Well, what are the...
Michael is me. Where are you going with this? He's not wrong about, you know, subversion and infiltration, demoralization, even there probably being some random patriots inside bureaucratic agencies. But where is he going with this?
And this is also important to understand about psychological warfare operations or psychological operations. The three main things that Q was talking about and that I think are the most important are the fiat debt-based currency and the Fed, okay? Number two, the child trafficking, human trafficking networks, the slave trade, right?
Right.
Number three, the government corruption and how it's rooted in these things and how the government is using its monopoly on the initiation of force to enforce this new world order, one world government and subjugate anybody that's going to dissent, right? That's in my opinion.
That faces me. I'm like, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Now, infiltration instead of invasion, according to JFK. That's what we're talking about here, right? Infiltration instead of invasion. So if the entity...
Okay, you know what? I think people are getting bored of this. Okay, we didn't get an answer, sadly. I'm just going to leave it at that because I'm just like, okay, dude. I don't know what he's saying at this point. Like, I do know what he's saying. I just don't understand how any of this connects to QAnon. That's my big beef, is not that, I don't know what he's saying or the things he's saying are not true. That's not the issue. The issue is, how does this connect to QAnon, okay? And everything now, maybe he does eventually explain it, but I'm really getting tired of listening to it because every time he just he opens up new floodgates, but he never closes them. So, I mean, we've been covering this for like half an hour. I think we might as well just move on to the next segment here because I don't know what he's saying. He's not wrong. No, he's not wrong. I'm not disagreeing. It's just, this just has no connection to QAnon. I don't get what he's... It was a simple answer, which is a simple question, which is, what is QAnon? And he's basically responded by going on a 10-15 minute rant about, you know, the infiltration and subversion of the United States, again, which is not wrong. But I've waited too long, okay, when we just have not gone to conclusions. So, again, guys, you do want to super chat the show, feel free to do so. We got to move on here to our last and final story of the night from, you know, my 25%, my quarter homeland of Italia, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, a few weeks ago, you may remember this whole debacle with Miss Netherlands. Remember, Miss Netherlands was Mr. Netherlands. A transformer won the Miss Netherlands beauty pageant contest. Well, we got some news for you today out of basically the only country in all of Western Europe that is doing anything to stand up against the nonsense. Miss Italy, okay, so this is the Italian beauty pageant, will be banning transformers from competition, saying you must be a woman from birth. We have this article here. The Miss Italy beauty pageant has reaffirmed its stance on not allowing Transformer Decepticon Autobots to compete. This decision comes in the wake of the recent Miss Netherlands debacle. So here's the official patron of Miss Italy stated in an interview that contestants must be a woman from birth. She added, lately, beauty contests have been trying to make the news by also using strategies that I think are a bit absurd. And, you know, it goes on, according to a UCLA School of Law study in 2016, 21 out of 23 countries support policies banning. Okay, I don't know what it's getting at here, but, you know, it goes on, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, again, point being, Italy is banning Transformers from participating in the beauty pageants. Now, I gotta say, this comes off a string of a lot of great headlines out of the nation of Italy. So, you may have heard a few weeks ago, Ferrari has committed that they are not going all in on electric vehicles, right? They're keeping the gas combustion engine. They guaranteed until at least 2040, they went out and said it would actually be arrogant to dictate to customers what they can buy. And so we have this article here, right? I don't want to be arrogant and impose a choice on our client. It is the client who must choose if they want an internal combustion engine or hybrid or electric car. Last year, Ferrari announced plans for so there you go, right? Ferrari coming out and saying, we're not going to do the electric car stuff. And then you may have also heard about this, right? Italy has also banned bugs in food. So you're basically getting a string here. And the point I'm trying to get at here in short is that Italy is basically banning all of the stuff that the World Economic Forum and the globalists want for you, right? So they want to force electric cars down your throat. What does Ferrari come out and say? Never, not on our watch, right? They're trying to force men being women down your throat. What does Miss Italy come out and say? They're not going to happen. Not gonna happen, right? And then you have headlines like this, of course, Italy banning insect flour from its pasta. So in short, you know, all the bugs in the food, they want, hey, it's good for the environment. Let's put bugs and bug ingredients in all of our food. Italy says, not gonna happen. You're not gonna bring any bug-based ingredients into our food. Of course, you know about the prime minister in Italy, Giorgia Meloni. She's a nationalist, right? She's pro-family, pro-God, conservative, all of that stuff. I think what you're starting to witness here in Europe is a trend where, at least in Western Europe, it seems to me, right, that the Italians are basically the only Europeans who are standing up against any of this stuff. Because what's going on in a country like, say, Sweden, you know? The climate change activists, they are just throwing paint on the Monet paintings, right? Just vandalizing stuff. Climate change, climate change. What happens to them? You know, $100 fine, let out of jail, not even arrested in some cases, right? What happens in Italy? Well, as you may have seen, I'm not sure if you guys saw this video, but there was an American tourist who tried to carve his name into the Colosseum walls, and I'm pretty sure they arrested that guy. And one of the Italian ministers in that country said, this guy is going to face the full punishment of our law, basically saying, you're not going to stand, I don't care who you are, you're not going to vandalize historic monuments in our country, right? So you're seeing this. And of course, you know, when it comes to the gender stuff, the World Economic Forum, all of that stuff, UK not doing anything, France just allowing it. But the Italians, right? The Italians, my people, are standing strong. I think there's a reason for this, okay? I think, in my opinion, is that, and if you've ever met Italians, you know this, right? Italians have this very strong sort of pride about their heritage. You even see it in the United States. You ever notice during the BLM riots of 2020, not once in the Northeast, specifically in New York, did they go after the Columbus statues? And even Governor Andrew Cuomo at the time went out and said, you better not touch those because the Italians are going to get mad at you, right? The Italians have this sort of pride about their heritage, right? They're very defensive. They're very proud and they're defensive of it. And I think that's what you're seeing now, kind of being the reason why they're the only country in Europe en masse that's standing up, because it's, you know, a matter of, hey, who do you think you are, right? You have the liberals, the left, the globalists coming in and trying to force this and that. And what is the nation of Italy saying? They're saying, back of the line, Copernicus. Hey, like what's going on there, right? Because they're very defensive. They're very proud about it, right? This is very true. So I think that my kind of running theory on this is I think that's what you're seeing. And I think when it comes to Europe as a whole, I mean, I'm rooting for all of Europe and America, obviously. Like, I want all of this stuff to end. But if I were to take a bet, 30 years from now, which country in Europe is going to have totally succumbed and which country's still going to be standing strong and kind of proud and traditional in many ways? I think it's going to be Italy, right? It's going to be Italy because, like I said, it's sort of this cultural thing of, like I said, very defensive and proud about their heritage, right? They don't mess around. They don't take crap, whereas, sadly, at least nowadays, a lot of the other countries in Europe and obviously the United States are taking that crap. And so shout out to the Italians. Shout out for staying strong. Michael Knowles actually tweeted out today. He says, Italians have always had this like inherently right-wing instinct despite, kind of flirtations with socialism in the past. And I think that's true. And it boils down to, like I said, they're very proud about their traditions and their heritage, and they will get violently angry if you touch them, as many people know, right? So whenever you come in, and this is what I think is going to save them and save their civilization, is whenever you come in and try to change things or try to get rid of their heritage, they'll fight you for it. They'll get very angry about it. And that's what you're seeing here. And it's based in, I'm very, very proud of my quarter heritage, my mixed heritage. Okay. Shout out to Italy and, keep it up. Don't let them. All right. Okay. My ancestors, don't let them do it. This is real. This is just true. So, all right, folks. Well, it is 9 o'clock. Let us move in now to our Super Chats Q&A. Okay, and it is Friday, so maybe we could do call-ins. But we're now open for Super Chats, questions, comments, anything you got for the rest of the night. Feel free to do so. I will cover those for about 10 to 20 minutes here, and then we will call it a night. So let me make sure that I didn't miss anything earlier. Let me check Streamlabs really quickly. I think we're all caught up. Okay, very good. All right, folks, we're open for Super Chats, so feel free to send them in here. Too small to be very effective. Well, listen, it's their country. I'm not saying that they're going to save the world here exactly, but anytime a country protects its heritage, protects its traditions against these forces of evil and progress, quote unquote, I'm all for it, So if that's Hungary, good for them. Italy, good for them. Hopefully it moves westward, though, right? Because this thing started in, Hungary, Poland, the Eastern Bloc, and now it's moved. It hit a country in Italy, right? Hopefully it just keeps moving westward. This is the neo-European version of Manifest Destiny, okay? The sort of nationalist, traditionalist movement is just going to move, okay? It's going to move west, all right? So then France will be next, and then the UK, and then Spain, and then the United States, okay? This is what we need to see. All right. And it's true, everyone historically, and even to this day, always likes to dog on the Italians, we're very made fun of people. But I will say, the world could learn something from the Italian attitude right now. Because that very defensive pride about preserving tradition and heritage and culture and just who you are, right? That Italians have always had and sometimes ran into problems for having. That's what every nation in the West needs right now, right? The Americans as a whole, because obviously we have Italians in this country, right? America as a whole, every time they step in and try to change a tradition or do this or do that or push progressivism, like you need the Italian reactionary attitude of, hey, What do you think you're doing? What do you think you're doing? It's true, right? UK, you need this. France, you need this, right? Imagine doing what they did in France. Imagine trying that in Rome. You know, imagine trying to break into businesses and burn them down there. What's gonna happen? This is true, right? The whole West needs to be like Italy these days, and the Italians, okay? Because that very defensive nature is, in fact, indeed what they actually need. This is really true. This is very true. Okay? Canada needs some of that right-wing wave too. Real. But this is the problem. Everyone else is so nice, right? Look what they do in Sweden. Remember that video? They throw the paint cans on the Monet painting or whatever, and the security guard. And you can just see this in the culture, right? This is, in my opinion, a cultural problem. They're like, hey, excuse me, don't do that, please. Can you please leave? If you do that in Italy, what would happen? Just so if you took, you know, I don't know, is the Mona Lisa in Italy? I think it is, right? If you threw that at some historic Italian artwork, do you think they would calmly ask you to leave and like give you a minor fine? Or do you think they would do what everyone should be doing? Right? That's what I'm saying. That's the attitude we all need. We need to stop being so nice about, okay, you know, it's okay. Hey, please don't do that. Please don't. This is what every European country and partially America. Now, America, not entirely, because I'd argue we have like the South, you know, we have this kind of rebel culture of our own, right? But still, you know, especially these European countries, they're like, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Whereas the Italians are like, you know, it's true. It's true. Everyone needs this attitude. The whole West needs this attitude. But anyways, we got a $20 super chat from Burgundy Blue, ladies and gentlemen, who says, hey, Vince, could you read the text from the Wikipedia page for the Polish children's poem Mrzenek Bombo? It was supposed to be an inclusive poem about an African child written by a Polish Jew. Thank you for the $20, Burgundy Blue. Is this clean for YouTube? Are we gonna get in trouble for this? Let's read it here. It's better not be a Fed post. All right, let's pull it up. Mrzenek Bombo. All right. What is this? I swear, Burgundy Blue. If this is some, okay. This is gonna get me journalisted. Okay, you guys, you know, listen. I thank you for the 20, but you're not gonna get me deplatformed or freaking hit pieced or whatever because someone clips this. Okay. You guys can go Google what he wants me to read, okay? I'll read the first line, which is, a little person lives in Africa, okay? But I'm going to get in trouble for this, okay? Thank you for the $20. I appreciate it. But I'm not gonna give our enemies bait like that, okay? That's just bait. It's just bait. You can't get in trouble. It's written by a Polish Jew. It would be anti-Semitic. Well, that's a good point. But you know. All right, Sheeny Beanie for $5 says, hold on. Sheeny Beanie for $5 says, here it is. She says, Italians punch with their hands like this. Seriously, don't mess with the Italians. They'll tar and feather your blank. Thank you for the $5, Sheeny Beanie. It's true, right? It is so true. It's the only country in this point, sadly, it shouldn't be, okay. Sadly, it shouldn't be this way, but it's the only country in Western Europe where you don't mess around like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you would never go, protest climate change. Even imagine just trying to block the road. Imagine trying to do the Just Stop Oil. You guys see in the UK, they have this Just Stop Oil movement where they're blocking the road. Imagine doing that in Italy. What's going to happen? You know, But that's the thing, is that these leftists need to have respect for the society around them, right? They need to. This would stop so much of their nonsense. Would you go threaten people on a subway if you thought, oh wow, if I threaten people on a subway, someone's probably gonna respond, right? Would you do that? Of course not. Would you throw paint on a Monet painting if you knew it was gonna get you 25 years plus in federal prison? Of course not. People do it because we're so nice in the West, and we just allow it, and people know they can get away with it, right? But the second you instill respect, the second you instill you F around, you actually will find out. It's very curious, right? How fast all this leftist nonsense just dissipates. It does, right? Because people just won't do this stuff. People would not, the Just Stop Oil protesters in the UK would not block the road if they knew that they were going to get run over. But they know they're not, right? They know everyone's just going to stand there and, hey, excuse me, mate, get out the way, mate. Oi, Bumbleclot, what do you think you're doing? But they're not actually going to do anything, right? I think Bumbleclot's Jamaican. Oi, Wasteman, what do you think you're doing? And it shouldn't be that way when you think about it, because the Brits, the urban Brits, do have a reputation of fighting and stuff. But, you know, what do? They mess around, right? So this is what we need. We need more respect, okay? And people respect the Italians because they're scared of what you're going to do if you don't show them respect. And it's real. It's real. It needs to be real everywhere. It really does. Really does. The protesters actually went to Italy, and the drivers literally threw the protesters to the curb. Well, there you go. That's how you do it. You literally throw them out the way. There you go. I never heard about that. Thank you, Brian E, for letting me know. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Messing with Italians is like picking a fight with an Eagles fan. You'll literally go miss. Well, a lot of Eagles fans are indeed Italian, so it's no coincidence. It is no coincidence, you know? So this is real and this is true. Dan Crenshaw says, don't mess with Texas. I'm glad you're in the show. You're watching the show, Dan Crenshaw, okay? You know, Dan Crenshaw, the real representative Dan Crenshaw, per reports, been watching this show for several months, but sadly, he is still a neocon. Okay, last I checked. He is still the same old Dan Crenshaw. Okay, so we've sadly made no impact on Dan Crenshaw's politics, unfortunately. And it is quite unfortunate. But it is indeed unfortunate. Okay. So apparently I'm looking, people are going to the Barbie movie dressed up as Barbies. Like they're wearing all pink. My goodness, what a bunch of dorks. Oh, I'm gonna go see all pink for the Barbie movie. Guys, let's go watch the feminist movie and wear all pink at it. Unbelievable. I mean, I'll be honest, anytime anyone who goes and sees, I don't care what it is, if it's Star Wars, Marvel, whatever, Top Gun, if you go to a movie wearing a costume to like show, oh my gosh, I love this movie's and its universe so much, you're loser. Okay? I don't care what it is. If you show up to Star Wars dressed as freaking Yoda, you're a dork. Okay? If you show up to Barbie, then dressed like that, you're a female dork. I don't know what to say. Imagine doing that for a movie. Imagine showing up dressed like one of the characters, like showing up in cosplay to watch a movie. It is sad behavior. So, all right, we got more super chats here. Omar Zapata for $2 says, "Beard looks good, bro. Told you so." You know, you did indeed tell me so. All of the dudes who were telling me to grow it out, and I was very averse to it at first. You are all vindicated, okay? I owe you all a formal apology, okay? I deeply apologize sincerely for my past actions. It was incredibly inconsiderate of me to refuse to grow a beard. This is indeed true. I feel like I gotta trim the chin at some point, but I don't know. I thought that a few days ago, but then now I feel like it's actually just growing in densely and it looks fine. But I don't know. I gotta figure out an actual grooming routine for this soon. last 2 weeks. This is like maybe 3 weeks worth of. I'm trying to think. How long has it been? Friday. I'm not sure actually. How long has it been? It might be. I think it's 3 weeks now. I think we're going on 3 weeks of growing this out. Because I think. Yeah, no, yeah. I think this is the 3rd week. I think. But I feel like I gotta trim to keep it even eventually. But for now, I'm just still trying to grow it, you know. So I guess we'll figure out what to do with it eventually. Burgundy Blue for $5 says. You see the video on Twitter of the mother that couldn't take her child to the hospital because of the climate protests. It is sick. Thank you for the $5. Actually, yes, I have, but we can actually just play that right. Oop. We can actually you did not see anything. We can actually just play that right now. Hold on, give me a second. It's on my Twitter. So let's take a look here. You did not see anything just now. You certainly did not see what Burgundy Blue wanted me to Google earlier. That you did not see it. You did not see anything. You will not screenshot anything. All right, here we go. Here, check this out. This is the video he's talking about. Just Stop Oil prevent a woman from taking her baby to the hospital. Absolutely disgraceful. Check this out. Notice how this soy boy cuck also doesn't move. Okay? You know, I don't endorse breaking the law, but frankly, let me just say I would not feel bad if this woman probably just, like, literally beat him up, okay? And it's quite warranted. She literally has a baby. They're trying to get to a, you know, I think a doctor's appointment or whatever it is, okay? And here's this idiot. Like, and by the way, she could do it too, okay? I am no feminist. I'm not defending the transgender sports stuff, but this woman unironically could beat the crap out of this guy, okay? Unironically. And, you know, like I said, I don't endorse violence, but I would not feel bad. Let me say it like that. I would not feel bad. But, all right, check it out. This scum. Look at the physiognomy of every single one of these men, okay? And yes, I will insult them personally because they deserve more than personal insult. Let me just say that. But look at this guy. Look at this guy. Cuck. Total cuck. Look at this guy. You know, I bet you this guy is here because his wife told him and he gets emasculated by his wife and bossed around. His wife doesn't respect him. His kids don't respect him. He's a disgrace of a man. He's losing hair because of his lack of self-respect. It's true. Total B word, okay? Total B word. The women are all ugly, literally. Ugly, old, lesbian, ugly, you know, shaved head, all that stuff. This literal freak, emo freak. We got pink hair here, obese, old and shriveled hags. Yeah, no, I'm going to insult every single one person here because you are, I mean, like I said, insulting them's the nice thing to do. It is too nice to these scum of the earth, these degenerates, okay? To just be insulting them. But it's the least, you know, I don't live in the UK, right? And of course, I don't endorse violence. It's the least we can do. It's the least we can do. Okay? She's got a baby in the car, and they still refuse to move. But by the way, these guys are actually selfless, right? Remember all those selfish corporations are polluting, and we're altruistic people, and no, you're not. You're scum. You are scum. Okay? You are scum who belong in jail. You belong with the dredges of society. Okay? These people, in my eyes, are as morally low as violent criminals. Like, that's how I view them. Because they are. They are. Someone could be having a medical emergency, which is literally the case right here, right? Someone could have lost their job because they were late to work, because you wouldn't move. right? You are ruining people's lives. It's not just a matter of, oh, it's inconvenient. No, you can get people, you can ruin people's lives and or kill people by doing this. Okay? So yeah, I do view you as scum. Like, oh, they're just kids. They're just... No. My ideal society, okay? These people... Maybe I shouldn't say it on YouTube. What would be the criminal punishment, okay? Scum of the earth, okay? Literal troglodytes. Literal troglodytes.
You make more pollution. Somebody's going to...
Exactly, you make more pollution. You...
It's illegal. It's illegal.
Of course, it is my firm belief, as a matter of legal principle, that you should not have to be obstructed by things on the road. So, you know, just let me just say it that way. But absolute scum. Scum of the earth. Oh, no, they're just misunderstood. They're misled. No, you're like... These people deserve, at the very least, to be shamed and ridiculed. Which is all I can do. Which is sadly all we can do. But, you know, it's just true. These videos make me very mad, okay? And you guys wonder why I'm so obsessed with, like, next year I want to buy the most gas-guzzling car possible, okay? This is why, all right? The environmentalist movement has inspired me to want to buy a V8, okay, just for them, okay? I'm serious. I want to take that to climate protests and just rev the engine. It's true. It's true. You know? We will gladly contribute to climate change just as a middle finger to these people as they take over the world and take over the streets, okay? That is my act of defiance. And it should be all of your act of defiance, okay? Is we're the last generation, as they're phased out. We will work extra hard, okay? I want these people to know, I and so many of you, we are going to work extra hard and try to make extra money just so that we can buy a V8 car, an expensive gas-guzzling car, just so we can rev the engine in your face. Okay? I mean that. I mean that, okay? And when I have my V8 car, I'm going to constantly post pictures of it and tag I'm not joking about this. I'm going to constantly post pictures of it and repeatedly tag environmental groups, literally just to provoke and insult them. It's true. It's true. This is real. How about a V10 Viper engine? Well, you know, when I'm rich, we're doing it. We're going to just level up, okay? But it's true. Yeah, you're right. You are right. You are right. V10's even better. It's probably out of my price range at the moment, but we'll get there. We'll get there. No, it's true. It's true. Okay? People are always like, no, you don't need a car like that. Blah, blah, blah. You don't even... Listen, okay? Maybe in the 90s, buying a nice car was just, oh, I'm rich, let me just enjoy my life. It's not about that anymore, okay? It is an act of rebellion. It truly is. It is an act of rebellion, okay? To just buy a bunch of cars or to buy like nice cars that guzzle gas. It's an act of rebellion now, okay? So I would go so far as to say it is virtuous. It is, you are helping to save the planet by driving a V8 or a V10 or a giant truck, whatever you want, whatever is your taste, okay? Just drive the car that you know the environmentalists hate, okay? That is an act of rebellion. You're actually saving the world by doing that. It's a genuine take. You're literally saving the world. This is real. This is real. So, all right, guys, with that said, folks, it is about 9:23. Last call for Super Chats. I'm going to end this show about 9:25. But yeah, I can't stand these people. I literally just cannot stand these people. Okay. They haven't. I'm not. You guys think I am joking? These people have inspired me to work harder. I'm like, I want to work hard and make money so that I can buy the car that pisses these people off. Okay. You don't understand how much I wake up, and that's actually like probably 20 to 30% of my motivation to get out of bed every day is literally this. And you guys think it's a joke. It's not a joke, okay? I'm serious about it. I'm like, we're going to grind. We're going to grind so that way when I have like a Mustang or Camaro, we can just rev the engine at the libtards, okay? This is a mission at this point. This is a mission at this point. Okay? Scrappy says, hot take, environmentalism as a right-wing ideology is very base. No, it's not. Environmentalism's not right-wing. Conservationism is right-wing. Right? Conservation, the idea that we protect the environment for human use. But environmentalism is like pagan worship of the environment. It's the idea that humans somehow exist to serve the environment. There's nothing right-wing about it. It's satanic, frankly. It is. It's, you know, it puts this idea that human beings have inherent duty to like serve the environment. No, that's not true at all. Conservation, yes, humans should use the environment responsibly, yes, but God gives us dominion over, you know, the earth, right? Or the physical dominion, I should say, over the earth. It is our duty, yes, conservation, to use it responsibly, but the idea beyond that we have some type of don't piss off Mother Nature, it's not based, it's not right wing, frankly at all. But anyways, Vince, you're still young. You haven't done this for 30 years, but I love your efforts. Well, listen. Okay? Let me just, everyone hold me accountable to this, okay? I want to be the guy, in 30 years, I'll be 50, okay? I want to be the guy in 50 years who still drives a nice car, okay? Like, everything will be electric by then. It'll be like a relic. It'll be like, aha, look, Vince Dow Jr., I used to have this V8, and it was, but, you know, I want to be that guy still. It's true, okay? To the very last bitter end, okay? They will have to take the V8s from our cold hands. Okay, this is true. Anyways, all right, last super chat of the night. Burgundy Blue for $20 says the fact that you couldn't read it on stream is such a cultural microaggression against Polish people. Well, take that up with the Poles. I mean, take that up with YouTube, I should say, not the Poles. Take that up with YouTube. So much so that when they see a Pole, when a Pole sees an African, they point and say, "Bombo." Thank you for the $20, Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it. Yeah, it is true. It is true. YouTube has anti-Polish propaganda on it. What can we say? What can we say? You know, this is indeed true and real. The stewardship part, well, yes. But no, Vince will be driving a Model T. That would be based, actually. I want to have a Model T. Can you imagine pulling up to town in the Model T? Everyone's like, what the heck is that? I'm like, I feel like that's Sigma. That's Sigma male, okay? Because I'm pretty sure a Model T, what's the max speed on it? Like 10, 15 miles per hour? See, the climate change activists, they're like, dude, I'm going to block the road to be dumb. But imagine a Model T blocking the road. You can't do anything. You actually just have to sit there and respect it. It's like, okay, the guy's got a Model T. Like, what? Yeah, he's blocking the road. Yeah, he's screwing everything up. But he's got a Model T. Like, how can you argue with that, right? There's nothing you can say to him that counters the fact that he has a Model T. So it is true. But yeah, thank you for the donation, Burgundy Blue. Big support tonight from Burgundy Blue. Very big and real. But yes. Brian E says, Vince, buy a General Lee car. I don't know if I could drive a 60s car. The General Lee's what? It's like a 1960s Charger, right? I don't know if I would even know how to drive those things, though. That's the only problem. Like, it would be cool. Oh, Vince, it still steers. I get it. I'm just saying. It would be cool, but I don't know if I could actually drive that, you know? Like, I'm a zoomer at the same time, right? If I can't plug my phone into the Bluetooth And if I don't have a backup camera, I can't really drive the car. See, this is the issue. So, you know, that's the problem. That's the problem. But just buy a car with manual gears. I don't know how to drive manual, RJ. I could probably learn. Can't be that hard. But I was raised on automatic. I'm not based like that because my parents never had them. Why? What do you think is different? No, I fully recognize nothing is different. It's really the fact that I can't plug my phone in and I don't have a backup camera. This is just real. This is literally just what it is, you know? This is the issue. No, power steering would mean strong forearms. All right, well, okay, let's see. How much even... What's it generally? It's a 1967 Charger, right? Okay. 1967 Dodge Charger. All right. I can't even... let's see. Okay, 1967 Dodge Charger for sale. 42,000. That's not actually... Wow, I thought it was gonna be like... I just thought those old cars would be... You get $38,000 from Michigan. Is a 1968 Charger. It might be a 1969 Charger. It was a 1969 Dodge. No, okay, no, you're right. It's a 69 Charger. Okay, let's see. You can get a 1969 Dodge Charger for $53,000. Why is that so cheap? Okay, this one though is 250 grand. That's how much I thought they were. 130. Why are some of these so cheap? But yeah, you can get a 1969 Dodge Charger for 250 grand as the asking price. Absolutely insane. Because it looks like it's here. Let me show you guys the screen. It looks like it's... Actually, no, I can't. Never mind. I just removed it. It looks like it's renovated. It actually looks cool, though. Okay, you guys might be onto something. Okay, you guys might... Granted, this is $250,000. But no, this I would. I'm not gonna lie. This is just... Because it looks like they kind of renovated it, you know what I mean? I think they actually did. I'm looking at it. So that's why it's so expensive. It's like they kind of modernized the interior, it looks like. Oh, they definitely did. Yeah, okay. So this is what... So they like modernized some of the interior. They added a headrest on the seats behind, which is very important for not breaking your neck if you crash. But it's still a 1969 Dodge. That is cool. That is actually really cool. That one has no engine. Okay, that's the reason why. All right, well, I don't know. Something to consider. Something to consider. That's called Rest-A-Mod. Well, there you go. That's what I need. If I were to drive that, that's what I would need. Because if I can't plug my phone into the car, then it's just over. Okay, sorry, Gen Z. Sorry about that. What you gonna do? But all right, guys. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I will wrap it up here. Everyone have a very good weekend. See you guys later. Be sure to leave a like on the stream before you go. Let's get to 100 likes. And big support tonight from Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it, as usual. And yeah, folks, until next time, Alpha moves only. God bless. Everyone have a very good weekend. Be safe. Be safe. Don't get a DUI. Top tier advice from VinceDao. Okay, powerful life advice. We've saved everyone. Everyone's life has been saved because I said don't get a DUI on a live stream. This is true. But yeah, all right, guys. See you guys later. Alpha moves only. God bless and peace.